Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video we're discussing The Slumber Party, written by Shannon Hollinger. It's a mystery and a thriller. It's a very fast-paced book. The chapters are short and sharp. The writing is very clever and spot on and very tight. This book will take you on a fast-paced roller coaster ride. If you want a thriller that's very fast-paced, the characters are very gripping. There's lots of twists and turns and shocks and surprises. I mean, the twists and turns happen all through the book, not just towards the end, and I enjoyed that so much in this story. This author has a lot to offer, I think, has a grasp on so many things in what makes a good book. Characters, sharp writing, clear writing, twists and turns, especially in a thriller, and just the ability to make you want to keep reading, to make you want to know what happens. We start this book with construction going on. So some workers are building a retaining wall, I think it was, in the book, and they're after rocks. And somebody knows that there's some rocks just in the woods a bit, a pile of rocks. So they send somebody out to get them, and this person's picking up rocks, putting them in a wheelbarrow, and then lifts a rock and sees bones, sees a skull. And that is the first big shock in this story, and it happens very early on, and it's very powerfully written in the book. The way it happens, the build up to it, these foreboding woods, these dark woods that this person, this grown guy, is a bit afraid of going into, and then he comes across this skeleton, this skull, and then that opens up the rest of the book. We soon meet one of our main characters, Liz. She had 3 best friends in high school, and they were very close. They did everything together, and they supported each other, backed each other up, to the point where if somebody insulted or hurt one of them, they would attack them physically in defense. That's what happens sometimes in their history. And this book, we have switches between past and present chapters. Not my favorite way of storytelling, but I didn't mind it in this book. And I think it comes down to the fact that chapters are short and sharp and the writing is so tight. If it wasn't like that, I think I wouldn't have enjoyed it so much. Anyway, Liz gets a threatening note, and it says something along the lines of, "You know what you did, confess," that type of thing. And as the story progresses, she gets more of them. And she thinks that somebody's out to get her. And she learns that one of her childhood friends is back in town. And she feels some fear about that, some anxiety about that, and we're not sure why at this point. Something must have happened when they were younger. We get that impression. But what was it? Why is she so afraid of somebody she was so good friends with in childhood? So Liz is a mother. She has a teenage daughter of her own, and her teenage daughter is best friends with a teenage girl next door. And the mother of the girl next door is a woman called Francine. And back when Liz was a teenager, Francine was not one of her friends. Francine was a girl who wanted to be friends with Liz and her friends, used to follow them around, watch them on the edges, but was never friends with Liz. But now they're friends because their daughters are friends. But there's something a bit creepy about Francine in this story. Something about her just seems a little bit off. And it's the way she often watches Liz. Liz already knows that in the story that in present day, when she's an adult, that whenever she goes out of the house or when she has someone come to her door, Francine's always watching and ready to spread gossip and news about Liz, what's going on in her life. And that alone is a bit creepy. But there's more to Francine than meets the eye, I think. I really want to say more about this book, but it's so hard to say more about it without giving key things away that I shouldn't give away, because I want you to read it, because I think it's a great book. This book is just full of great tension. It's got a great mystery in there as well. What happened to those girls all those years ago when they were in high school? Why aren't they friends now? What's this big secret? Why is somebody leaving notes for Liz? Threatening notes saying confess or something bad will happen to you. There's just so much going on in this story, and it happens in the past and present storyline. There's mystery and tension in both storylines, and that's interesting as well, because that big event that happened in the past, those past chapters build up to that. But whilst building up to that, there's a lot of tension, suspense, and a little bit of mystery in that as well. And we see little snippets of Francine in the past as well. So we get to tie in with Francine in the past and present. And how does she tie in? I'm not going to tell you, but it's just very mysterious, very gripping, and very thrilling. And the twists now in the present day that happen, they're surprising as well. They're shocking. Some bigger than others, of course, and the author was very clever in the way the twists are structured. They're all through the book. And with some twists being minor and some being bigger, more explosive, it makes it feel more real because it feels more balanced. We haven't got, big twist after big twist, big explosion, big shocking event after big shocking event. There's just like a chart. So we've got a peak, then we have dropped down a bit for the next twist, and it picks up again a little bit, not too much, then down again. So it happens very structured, and it's very cleverly done. This book will keep you guessing. The author will make you make assumptions. That's how it's written. And then those assumptions are tested. And you have to change your mind, you have to be flexible and switch your attitude towards some characters in the story. That's another good thing about this book. The author drags you down rabbit trails. It doesn't let you go, it doesn't let you veer off on your own. You have to follow what the author's set down on the page. You have no choice, basically. That's the way this book's written. And it will force you to think things about characters, then change your mind. At least that's what happened to me anyway when I read this book. Liz, who ends up being the main character in the story, a very good character, very well crafted. You feel her emotions so clearly. You feel everything she's going through. And it's a character where you can't help but get behind her. You want the best for this character. You want her to get to the end of the story and to come out of it. At least I did when I was reading it, and I think you will feel the same way. This character is just so cleverly written, and the author just shows that you can write characters so well. Francine, who's the person next door to Liz, and they're friends because their daughters are friends. Francine is worth mentioning because she's creepy. She has this creepy factor going on with her. She feels like the spider in the shadows, just watching and waiting. There's little, threads of web she spun throughout the town, just hoping to catch little tidbits here and there, unsuspecting people or rumours that she can use for whatever means she wants to. She just feels like this, not a villain, but she's just this creepy, almost stalker-like character in the past and present storyline. Francine is a standout for those reasons. She's not a huge character in the book, but she stands out because you're not sure about her. There's something unsettling about Francine. Sammy, who was a good friend of Liz's in high school, they lost touch for many years, but in the present storyline they reconnect. And they reconnect because of those notes Liz is getting from some stranger, those threatening letters, because they tie into something that happened when they were friends in high school. You get a sense of Sammy's instability in the character, and she stands out because of that. She doesn't seem like she's got it all together. She seems like she's in need of something, wanting something, and we find out some things about Sammy as this book progresses, and some of them don't put Sammy in a good light. But she's a powerful character because you just feel like she's going through things. You feel like she is missing something in her life, lacking something. She's got a hunger for something that she hasn't got in her life. I really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed the story so much. It's very thrilling, very gripping. The mystery is good as well in this book. So it's just not a thriller, it's a mystery as well. Because you have to learn the truth. And you got those thrilling moments all through the book. I rate it a 4 out of 5. I want to go back and read everything else this author's written, and I want to read everything she writes in the future. I think she's got a great grasp of structure. She knows how to structure a book to keep it going and keep you interested and engaged. She knows how to write chapters that are very tight. There's no wastage in word usage. Everything's very tight, but everything's still very vivid and clear. And you can picture things as well when you're reading the story. So it's a great relief, I think, to find the author who can tell a very engaging, very gripping story that you can picture in your head when you're reading it, but not waste words, not have a lot of filler. It just feels a bit comforting when you're reading it. On my channel, I do review a lot of thrillers. If you like thrillers, check out my channel and subscribe. There's also a thriller playlist on my channel. It should be on your screen now.